I prepared a few questions about the engineering management and how to run effective one-on-ones. But actually, first of all, I would like to ask you, what do you expect from idea one-on-one meeting?
I have one manager I've worked with who has probably my favorite style 101. And a lot of what he does is just leave it very open-ended, but like in a way that feels easy to like talk. So he uses the question a lot of what is on your mind, or what else are you thinking about? What's occupying your thought? And I like that because I've had other managers who are very much like, do you have anything on your agenda that you want to talk about today? And then it feels like there's a threshold for like, it needs to be important enough for me to bring it up. Versus
Okay.
if it's just like, what are you thinking about? It's a lower bar and it's easier for me to.
So from what I hear, that he creates this, he or she creates this environment of trust, and ask open questions that could be very important to you at this moment, and painful.
Yeah, exactly.
Does he or she needs to be a good listener? I listened to this talk. This girl from Mexico made wonderful talk, um, and what I learned from the talk, and how good listener you need to be in order to be a leader. What are other things that you would expect from engineering manager that you admire?
I'll bring up one more one-on-one thing since we were
Okay.
sort of on that
Yeah.
topic, which is sort of related, which was a practice that another manager used and I picked up when I was managing for a little while. But it was starting off the one-on-one with the question, on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling about work or in general? And that answer to that question was not that interesting. So somebody would say a 6, right? And then the follow-up question would be, why not a 5 and why not a 7? And that was where the interesting stuff got it.
It's more interesting.
Yeah, and then the other piece of that was then you can also track per person. So each person's going to be different in
Yeah.
what their baseline number is. But for a particular person, if you notice they're usually a 6 and today they're an 8, I was like,
So
oh, that's
something
really
good happened,
great.
yeah.
Yeah. Or if they're a 4, then you really need to pay attention and make sure they're not going to leave.
So from what I hear and what we could learn in our product is actually that to have this graph of mood
Yeah.
over time, not generalized, but individualized to each person, and with the call to action, whether there is a change in the appearance. Okay, good. So uh, actually, this trick with this follow-up question to the question how you feel is really good, because then you can reopen. Well, I have shitty computer and it
Exactly. Yeah.
doesn't run effectively. What else?
A lot of the managers I've had like aren't good at seeing this, but like when they can give me not exactly critical feedback, more like coaching. Like, I think you're doing great, but these are the areas where you could do even more, or you could be even better. And like, I don't know. Some of my best managers have like just given me a little bit of a nudge or a shove in certain directions.
A little bit of push in a one direction. And what kind of feedback do you prefer? Do you prefer very positive feedback, focus on the things that you made are really fantastic, or you are more into feedback that where there are pointed out areas where there is a room for improvement? What?
I think they're both important.
Both. So mix of both.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen managers rotate too far either direction, to be honest. The positive feedback, like I don't necessarily need a lot of reinforcement, but it's good to just know like, oh, they like that, or oh, that's good, I should keep doing that. Just kind of to like mental checklist of, oh, that's something I shouldn't change.
Yep.
And then the negative feedback, I actually hate the word negative.
Yeah,
It's more like
yes, it's already where the areas where I could actually learn something or improve.
Exactly.
I'm asking because I'm from Poland, and we are famous for being negative about things. and I heard that very often people actually prefer negative feedback. Well, feedback to focus on the areas where there could be better.
Yeah.
Ignore this area of positive thing.
Actually,
which I
it's
think
a mistake though.
I think it is mistake.
Yeah,
Because even if you are, like you said, you are a strong person who knows that, well, I did good job in this. But this reinforcement is more showing gratitude and in my opinion, also showing interest.
yeah.
You know, in what you are doing. Yeah.
I think the other thing that people sometimes forget is a lot of times we focus on like, where are you weak? And then you try to make that better instead of focusing on
Where
what are the needs and where are you strong and how can you maybe use where you're strong to cover for where you're weak instead of trying to improve the weakness. So, for example, I'm an introvert, so like the introvert talk, but I sometimes struggle a little bit more with talking. I guess I'm talking right now, so it might not come across, but as a part of that, I like writing though. So I started like really leveraging the writing because it gives me the time to think through my thoughts and really
structure it and
Exactly.
share it in the way you want to share.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was much more comfortable with that. And so I was like, well, it's still communicating things. I can
Yeah.
still get things across. This is great. And so just like leveraging that even more.
Yeah.
Is useful.
So focus on your strength and make it even stronger, and maybe not ignore, but don't put too much energy on the well, weaknesses, on the areas where you are not.
Yeah, or like maybe look for creative ways to get around needing to improve them or something.
What did you learn the most? What did you enjoy during those talks today? What was the most introvert one? Or
There's a few, like I actually thought the vulnerability, the security one was interesting because maybe, yeah, it made me think about how I'm not sure that we've done as much as we could, but
yeah, it was more hands-on and more practical from the
Yeah.
other talks.
the introvert one was interesting too in that there were a few things in there that I like really related to, and it was a good reminder of like, oh, these are just like introvert characteristics and I shouldn't be beating myself up about them. So
Yeah.
that was nice.
For me, the most interesting from this talk about the introverts is the question who you admire, and then I realized that I admire a lot of introverts. My best friends, most of my best friends are introverts. Well, we are in the computer science, so
That's true.
it's quite common practice. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's all. Sure.
Cool.
Thank you, Joe.